Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria, the capital city of British Columbia here in Western Canada. I hope that everybody has had a great week. I hope you're all looking forward to an enjoyable weekend. Students, this is an IELTS reading class, and we will be reading an IELTS passage and answering questions. And this reading is about the English language, so it's good for your English studies to know this knowledge as well, and the way that English is related to German. English is a Germanic language. It comes from German, and we're going to read and learn about that in today's class. This is a subscriber chat class, and so if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can join the chat. It's a good idea so that you can get notifications. Hit the bell button so you get notified of our live classes and important updates that will help you with your IELTS studies. Welcome Zarina, hi Baljit, welcome to our members, Jin Tao, Chayan Kip, Arbind, Akira, Ryan, very nice to see many of you here with me ready to learn. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. This reading passage is taken from aehelp.com. Use our websites for these live classes. They contain our course materials. It's basically like getting your textbooks for the live class. So if you want to learn effectively, efficiently, sign up for our premium package on our websites. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and it basically costs as much as your textbooks for school, so it's not that expensive. It's actually quite cheap, and you can do that by clicking this big red button that's just right above my head there. And again, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're a certified British Council IELTS Test Registration Center, IDP affiliates. I'm a certified British Council agent. So you are in very good hands with me for your learning. And you can use a discount code on our websites. The general IELTS website looks like this with the green background. You click that red button, and then you can use the code pattern20 for a 20% discount. So it doesn't cost a lot. The price is even cheaper in some countries where the dollar isn't as strong, so you got lots of reasons to join us and learn effectively. We have apps that power our websites. The apps are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help in your app stores. Download those, link them to the websites. Follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. And then you can send me an email if you have questions. My email is adrian@aehelp.com. Students, we've got lots of live classes regularly through the week. We've got 2 more classes tomorrow as well. We've got speaking part 2 and then speaking part 3 tomorrow. And we've got special Light Hall classes on a new platform called Light Hall that's designed for live teaching. They're really good. Check that out. One on the 24th, Sunday, at a bit of an earlier time, and then one on Sunday the 31st, last day of the month. So check those out. I'm putting the link into the chat so you can click on those later and join up with those classes. They are free classes. We released a new video about pattern changes to the IELTS exam in India. Check that out. If you have seen a pattern change in your recent IELTS exam, please let us know, and let us know the pattern that you are seeing, because there are definitely some changes coming with IDP IELTS, so we want to help everybody know about those changes, help each other, help us, help you. Reading strategies, everybody. We're going to get into reading right away. Strategy number 1 that we're going to look at is using the title. to predict information. It's very important. Read the title. Don't just skip the title. Read the title and think about what you know in relation to this topic. Okay? And why and how. So ask these critical questions of what, why, how before you start reading. Spend about a minute on that, and then you will have a much better understanding of the contents, and you will be able to read faster with more accuracy. So you definitely want to do that. This is our 10th exam in development, reading passage 3. Carolina, I had a pretty awesome birthday yesterday. It was quite chill, quite relaxing. Thank you for asking about that. Carolina is our chat moderator. You can ask her questions as well. She knows a lot about our classes and about IELTS. Welcome, Carolina. Thank you for helping us make these classes more effective and productive. So here is our IELTS reading passage. The topic, read it with me, students. This is a reading class. It's German and English. Differences and similarities. Okay, so I'm learning a passage about languages. Now, this passage is difficult to visualize because it's abstract. It's about a language. So it's not something physical like reading about cars or flowers or animals, where it's easier to picture what you're reading. Here you have an abstract passage. It's a little bit trickier to visualize it, but you still can, especially since you're all English learners. And so when we read this title, students, we want to think about this, right? So why are we comparing German and English? So let's do a little bit of prediction here. What's your answer? So why would somebody write a passage comparing German and English? Think about that. Meanwhile, Chan Kip has a question that I'll look at. Which is easier, reading IELTS through paper or computer? That's tough to say, Chankip. I think computer is pretty good for reading just because we're used to reading on a computer these days, but I don't think there's much difference when it comes to the reading section. The only difference is, again, you're typing your answers or you're using like drag and drop, so answering questions is a little bit different, but not much difference there, Chankip, in the reading section. Okay. All right. Baljit says they both have similar words. Okay, and phrases. All right. Sure. Why? Why does German and English have similar words and phrases? So follow your questions. Amrit says there's not much difference between German and English. I wouldn't say that, Amrit. I definitely think there's still a lot of differences. So there's a kind of a phrase that you should be thinking of here. They're sister languages. They are sister languages. English comes mostly from German. Okay, sure. They're not just both European languages, Mal. They're a little bit more than that. They are sister languages. Okay. Yeah, they're going to share some similarities. They have similar words and phrases and even grammar. Okay. So Hikmatillo says the pronunciation might differ. Okay. Sure. They may have, so why might they have differences is the question, right? What are the differences? There can be different words, definitely different pronunciation. Some are same or very close, okay? Different words, pronunciation, grammar as well. Why would there be different words in grammar and pronunciation? Okay. So why is that? Why would they sound different, Ghazi? And there are a lot of people that learn both German and English together because they're both quite important languages, especially if you're studying medicine. So in biology and in medicine, there are a lot of words coming from German as well as English. And if you study both of them, you realize that, hey, that's kind of a nice way to learn these two languages because of all those similarities. Baljit says, as they are from different nations. Yes and no, Baljit. English is Germanic. The English people originally come from, at least the Anglo-Saxons, or the Saxons especially, come from Old Germany. I'm not going to get into lots of history, but come from Old Germany into the UK. Jintao says, different culture, living style. Yeah, so different culture, sure. Okay. Why else? Maybe because, and this is where you have critical thinking, right? Is different language influence from other languages. Yeah, let's see how many of you have learned a little bit about English roots, right? So English is mostly Germanic. What other languages make up German? So although English is a Germanic language, it is also greatly influenced by what other language? Anybody know what other language has had a major impact on the English language other than German? And the more you know about a topic, definitely the better you will do in the reading passage. So gathering information is a very good idea. Ghazi says France, and Zohid says Latin. Yes, French and Latin. And what else? As well as some other languages. Does anybody know what other language has had a big influence? There are over 800 common words used in English from this language. Yeah, Zhao Lin, it's not Roman. Romans spoke Latin, so it's Latin, right? French. Okay. Bipana, you are very welcome. Thank you for that. There's no such students. Important history. Roman language is Latin. Okay, the Romans spoke Latin. Okay. 5 Working Brain Cells says Sanskrit. Yes, so lots of other languages, including Arabic. Okay. There are actually lots of words in English from Arabic as well. If you check into that, you will be surprised. I know we have a lot of students from various Arabic nations as well, like Saudi Arabia and Syria, as well as many other Arabic nations. And Arabic has had a big influence on English also throughout the centuries. So mixing people, right? And English is fast evolving. Okay. All right, good. So now we've thought a little bit about this. So at least before we read this passage, now we know that English is Germanic, but other languages have changed it. And we also know that this is in connection to grammar, pronunciation, culture, vocabulary. So let's find out a little bit more. And to find out a little bit more, we want to look at the questions before we read. So here we have questions 27 to 30. Questions 27 to 30 says, reading passage 3 has 7 paragraphs, A to G. Yes, it does. There's paragraph G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so which paragraph contains the following information? Write the correct letter in boxes 27 to 30 on your answer sheet. Now, this question you cannot skim or scan because you're going to end up reading the passage 10 times before you finish these questions. So you have to read the passage to answer these questions correctly. And I will show you how to do that. Now, all of this information is in the passage, okay? So with this kind of question, it's good to review it before the passage because all the information is in the passage at some point, okay? Now, the paragraphs, just like in the Task 2 essay that I was teaching you, are structured the same way as your Task 2 essay. So they have body paragraphs will have a topic sentence, they will have explanations, they will have examples, okay? So when you're reading these pieces of information, you should think about what element you're looking for here. So let's read these carefully, and then you tell me whether this is searching for the topic, this is searching for an explanation, or if it's searching for an example. So number 27 here, read with me. The development of English beyond its language antecedents. Okay, so is this an explanation, or a topic, or an explanation, or an example? What do you think? What kind of information is this? And the reason you want to know this is because that gives you a good idea of where you might find this information. At the beginning of a paragraph, in the middle of a paragraph, at the end of the paragraph. So where are you likely to find this? And before you can find it, you can identify what it is. Jin Tao and Umra both say this looks like a topic. Yeah, so this definitely looks like a topic. I agree. This looks like it's going to be the topic of a paragraph, okay? So most likely we will find this answer somewhere at the beginning of a paragraph, but I'm not going to search and scan for it yet or anything like that, but it gives me a good idea, okay? All right. Really tricky, this next one. Let's take a look. No, I'm just kidding. I'm being sarcastic about that tricky part. So 28, an example of English literature being similar in the past. Is that a topic, an explanation, or an example? Okay, so what am I going to be looking at here? This next one, number 28. It should be very easy because I think they kind of give you the answer that I'm asking you. Yeah, Zohid says it's an example. Of course, they say an example of English literature. So if it's an example, then where will I likely find the answer? So I will likely find the answer at the end or middle of a body paragraph. Likely, not for sure, but likely, right? The first one, topic, I will likely find it at the beginning. Now, the answers to these questions do not come in the order of the passage. That would be way too easy, so keep that in mind. Okay. All right, number 29. Let's take a look at this one here. A key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. So here, if I paraphrase this, it means a main difference in the words used for some kinds of food. Is that going to be an example, an explanation, or is that going to be a topic piece of information there for number 29? Okay, so a lot of you are saying that's probably an explanation, but Rakshya Gurung says, I think that's still an example. I would agree. I think this is more of an example because they're probably going to give us examples for different kinds of food. Some that are German, some that are English, and some differences, right? So I think it's kind of an example, naming of certain foods. My question here would be what food, right? So this kind of food, that kind of food. That's an example. So, but definitely not a topic, right? It's more of an explanation or an example. So we still know that this is coming in the middle or at the end. Okay, so we'll be at the middle or the end of a paragraph, right? So I've got that much information here. And then number 30, difficulties in English pronunciation. Is that a topic? Is that something that I'm talking about? Or is it an explanation to a topic? Or is it an example? This last one here. Bipana, our teaching times on YouTube, they are on the banner of our YouTube channel, as well as when you subscribe, you get notifications of upcoming live classes. That's why it's good to subscribe. So since you're a subscriber, that's why you can chat in the class. You should enable notifications and hit the little bell on the YouTube so you get those notifications from us, okay? All right, difficulties in English pronunciation, I think would be more of a topic. I agree. So whoever's saying topic, I would say more of a topic here. We're talking about the difficulties of English pronunciation. So more of a topic. So probably coming at the beginning, likely at the beginning of a body paragraph. Right? Okay, so while I'm reading these types of questions, I'm thinking about the paraphrasing and I'm thinking about what part of information they are. Okay, does that make sense? Is everybody clear on this strategy with matching information to paragraphs? It's good to paraphrase them, so think about other ways that you will see these statements in the text. And it's good to think about what type of information your brain is seeking, whether it's seeking a topic, a controlling idea, or well, yeah, could be that, an explanation or an example. Okay, so topic, explanation, example. Thumbs up, Amrit. Baljit says yes with a long hissing S. Okay, so good. Keep that in mind. All right. Okay, and now we have, this nice long question. We have to fill in these blanks, and then we've got some true, false, not given. So here, two languages split into two by another. Okay, so this is specific information. Let's read this. It's all in the passage. It's a summary, right? So we have all of the information in the passage to answer this question. So let's just read it. Now, this type of question, read it nice and fast. If you don't understand all of it, that's okay. Don't worry about that. Just read it before you read the passage. So here we go. Read with me. German and English have a common ancestor known as Proto-Germanic. This language was spoken by people in Europe thousands of years ago. Because of this, English and German are considered something languages. However, there are also something differences between the two languages despite their common heritage. Though the English of 1500 years ago was similar to German, the French-speaking Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 something the English language. All of a sudden, French words flooded into the country and its people's speech. This French influence is the source of the divergence between words like cow and beef. However, one word that did not follow this trend was, since its French equivalent looked like a negative sounding English word. While the French influence on English is clear, most of the most common words in English are still Germanic. Many words are even spoken similarly, that is, their something is roughly the same. Word order is one point of difference for German and English. A key aspect of German is that the verb always goes second. Conversely, in English, the verb can go almost something. Okay, don't try to guess these. Don't try to answer these. Read the passage first. Now, good. So we have some information there. We do know that we're thinking correctly. English is a Germanic language. There's a strong connection with words, pronunciation, grammar. And we do know that it changed because of other languages such as French. So we're reassured that we were thinking correctly when we read the title, right? Okay, and then we have true, false, not given. Do not read true, false, not given before the passage because this can be confusing. So do not read true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given, obviously, before the passage, as this can be quite confusing. Okay, so don't read it. Just leave it. Wait till the end. Okay, and then we go back, and in our next step, we read the passage, and we digest the passage. That means we comprehend it. We take in the information. Now, students, I want you to read the passage. So let's do this together, okay? And we're going to do this a little bit differently than what you're used to. So we're going to have some volunteers to read, but I will do it a little bit differently, okay? So for volunteering to read, I will read the paragraph and then you will read the paragraph. We'll talk about it a little bit and then we'll get another volunteer. Now you're probably asking right now, how do I volunteer? How can I read a passage on YouTube? Well, the way you can do it is you go to our website, aehelp.com, and you register or log in to your student account. You can log into a free account. You do not have to pay to do this, okay? I will show you how. If you want to pay, you can, and it's a good idea. We use these materials all the time, and if you want to access the reading material on the website, you need the premium package. But for speaking and for volunteering, you can just register for free by clicking that green button that's just right behind my head there, okay? And if you want all the materials, basically you want to get your textbooks for these live classes, then the best is to join the premium package, one-time payment. You do not have to pay every month. You get the app, you get everything, you get all of the listening audio, and then you have all the course material, okay? So it's a good idea to do that. And then once you register, it's pretty easy, standard internet registration process. Then you have a My Student account. And in your My Student account, you have all of the materials if you have the full course, including this. Actually, this reading you don't have yet. This is going to be added later. This is new material. But you have lots of reading. And then you click on this Student Partner Practice that's right there. Okay, that's what we use for our speaking practice sessions as well. So get familiar with it, click on it. Make sure your microphone is working. Make sure your speakers are working. You accept the terms, and then you are redirected to this page here, which is a chat interface with audio and video, like WhatsApp or like Skype. It's got all those features. And now you can basically send me a message. You will see me as Master, and you can send me a message to Master. Click on the blue envelope. Okay, so blue envelope, everybody. Not the other ones, the blue envelope, and say, I would like to read, okay? And then we will read together, and we will do this together. It's great practice. Everybody read along, everybody read together, okay? All right, let's start, because yesterday we started from the top of the list. So let's start from the bottom of the list today. Let's start with Song. We'll see. I have a message there from Pham. Pham says, I want to volunteer. All right, Pham. It's a great way to build confidence too, everybody. So Pham, are you ready to do a bit of reading? Now, Pham, I'm going to help you because I will read first. Okay, so Pham, are you ready to read? Again, enable your microphone. Have a good internet connection. Okay. All right. Hello, Pham. I hear that you picked up, but I do not hear you. So I'm wondering if you have enabled your microphone and your speaker. If not, check it out, see what's going on with your connection. It's got to be a stable connection. If you're using proxy or satellite, you could have difficulties with this type of software. Okay, so Fam, check your connection, check with another student, see what's going on, and then we'll come back to you, okay? Test it out. All right. Even lower on the list now is Moni. I will jump around, students, so don't worry. If you're higher on the list, you have every chance. So Moni, yes, are you ready? Let's we'll get someone here pretty quick. Believe me, there's no way that we won't. So Moni, if you are ready, send me a sign. Say I'm ready, or yes. Good.
Hello.
Hi, Moni.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Actually, I want to clear that my name is not Moni. This is my friend's ID I have used.
Okay. What is your name?
So my name is Shubsidat.
One more time, please.
My name is Shubsidat. I'm from Punjab.
Shubsidat from Punjab. Okay, I needed that. It's a tricky name, so it's a beautiful name. Tricky to pronounce for me. Shubsidat. Okay. All right. I hope I'm pronouncing it kind of right. Okay, well, let's do some reading. And you're from Punjab. All right. Okay. When are you doing your IELTS exam?
Sir, it's on 30th July.
30th of July. All right. Are you doing the paper-based or the computer-based?
Paper-based.
Okay. Are you aware that there's a pattern change with the paper-based exam in India?
Yes, sir. I have watched your video just now.
Okay. Yeah, let us know.
But actually, I have confusion.
Go ahead.
Like some are saying that like listening will come before reading, so reading at the end, but in your video you are saying that reading will be in the middle.
Yeah, we're getting both.
So I'm a bit confused.
It is a bit confusing because IDP notification says that it goes reading and then listening. So I'm not sure. They might actually be testing both of them. So do it both ways, but definitely be ready for the writing section first. That's what's really important. And when you do your exam, let us know in the comments on that video what was the pattern of your exam, because I think IDP is testing a few different formats. So we really want to know what's the most popular right now, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, let's get focused back on reading. So reading might come second or might come third, one of the two for sure. Okay, so let's do this. Let's read. I'm going to help you a little bit. So I will read this first, and everybody who's watching, you can read with me. For you, just wait till I'm finished reading paragraph A, and then after I finish reading paragraph A, then you can start reading, okay? So just pay attention to my speed, my pronunciation, and then try to copy it as much as possible. You can read along with your eyes while I'm reading aloud, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, here we go. So German and English, differences and similarities. German and English share a common ancestral language known today as Proto-Germanic, which was spoken by Western European peoples thousands of years ago. Just as people who share a common ancestor are related, languages that share a common ancestor are also related. English and German are sibling languages. They are each descended from Proto-Germanic and therefore also share a number of linguistic features. However, the languages have also diverged significantly over the centuries, and today they have many notable differences in addition to their ancestral similarities. Whenever you're ready, you can start.
Okay. German and English differences and German and English share a common ancestral language known today as Proto-Germanic, which was spoken by Western European peoples thousands of years ago. Just as people who share a common ancestor are related, languages that share a common ancestor are also related. English and German are sibling languages. They are each descended from Proto-Germanic and therefore also share a number of linguistic features. However, the languages have also diverged significantly over the centuries, and today they have many notable differences in addition to their ancestral similarities.
Very nice. Okay, and you copied my intonation very closely, which was great. So this is a great kind of practice before your IELTS exam to listen to a native speaker reading the passage and then copy after each paragraph. On our website, we have a lot of the audio for our reading passages so that students can practice this way. Okay. All right, so now that we read this paragraph, of course, we want to know what it's about. So what is this introductory paragraph about? What's the main idea in this paragraph?
Both the languages are from common ancestors.
Yeah, that's one part of it, okay? And there's a second part of it. So you got the first half, and that's great. So what is the main idea? They have a common ancestor. Yes, so they're siblings, right?
Yes. But there are also some dissimilarities over the centuries.
Very nice. Exactly. So that would be this paragraph in one sentence summarized, okay? Now, you can visualize this. So at the beginning of this lesson, I said to everybody that it's difficult to visualize this kind of reading because it's not physical. It's not like reading about flowers or reading about houses where you can picture the house, right? It's difficult to picture a language. Do you agree with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't visualize it. So you can. What you can do is you can personify the information. Do you know what this means, personify the information?
Like we can relate to the person or living things.
Yeah, exactly. You're so clever. So relate the information to a person or physical objects. And here, what can we relate this to? If we're reading this paragraph, there's actually a very easy way we can relate German and English. We can relate it to sisters or brothers, right? Because the passage says they're sibling languages. So we can imagine that you have one sibling here. I'm just drawing a very small little person, and this sibling is English, and they are holding hands with their brother or their sister, and their brother or sister, I've got a smaller head, I don't know why, didn't fit, is German, okay? So as you're reading this passage, now you can kind of picture that English is this one brother and German is this other brother, and they're kind of similar because they're siblings, but they're not the same. They've got different hair color, different eye color maybe. So we can kind of start picturing this information. It's called personifying the information. Do you know why it's good to personify the information?
I think it is easy to remember.
You are super smart. You're like my teacher's assistant today. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so when you personify information, when you give it physical form, then it's much easier to remember and understand that information because humans are extremely visual, right? So when we can picture English, and this brother even speaking English, and then that brother as German and speaking German, and we start to add those characteristics, then we're going to remember that, okay, A was introducing these siblings and saying that, you know, they have different hair color, eye color, but they're still siblings, they're holding hands, right? So exactly, that's very clever, and you will see that that will help us later when we're answering these questions. So that was really awesome. Thank you for being my first volunteer and a very, very clever volunteer at that. So keep up the good practice, okay?
Sir, actually I have one question. Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, my reading speed is not very fast. Like when I practice my reading test, so reading passage one and two, I do like I read whole, but in the passage three, I have to do skimming and scanning because of the less time. So I don't know
Yeah.
what to do, and my exam is near.
My feeling, so listening to and this is a very common situation with people. So a lot of people feel this way, but they're actually mistaken. So I think that in your situation, you're mistaken. I don't think that your difficulty is with your reading speed, because the way that you're speaking English and the way that you were reading right now is absolutely okay to finish all three passages. I think what's happening is that you're reading the passage too much. You're reading the information too many times. You're probably looking for every answer in the passage. When you're doing the reading, are you finding that for every question you're going back to the passage to read it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Most of the
yeah, so that's the challenge. That's what you have to fix, okay? You can't be looking for every answer. So when you read the passage, you should be able to answer at least half of the questions without reading the passage again. So the problem isn't your speed, it's your comprehension and your confidence. You need to confidently answer half of the questions without searching the passage again. Because if you can read the passage in 8-9 minutes, which I'm sure you can, then you have 11-12 minutes for those questions, and that's lots of time. So you need to focus more on your comprehension than your actual speed and your confidence. Okay, so that's what you want to practice. You don't need to read faster, you just need to read accurately and with confidence. Okay.
Okay, sir. I will
Right.
try my best.
That's what we're doing right now. What you just did by reading this paragraph and then thinking about the main points of the paragraph and picturing it with the brother sister, that's exactly what we're doing, is we're improving your comprehension. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, stay in the class and you'll see more. All right, you'll see why. Okay, thank you for volunteering. We'll take somebody else. Bye for now.
Okay, sir.
All right, thumbs up. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name again. I'm sorry. That was really tough for me. Suresh, I think it was. Okay, I tried anyway. All right, so that was paragraph 1. And again, pay attention, students. Often it's not the speed of reading, it's the comprehension. If you can read slowly but understand everything you read, you can answer those questions quite fast, okay? Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. All right, let's go to the next person here. That was Moni, or sorry, not Moni, because it's a friend's account. Let's go to Baljeet here. Baljeet says, I would like to read. Okay. Are you ready, Baljeet, to read our second paragraph? We're going to pick up speed here, everybody. No worries. But basically the format is the same. I read, you read, we identify the main points, okay? That's what we're doing here. I read, you read, we identify the main points. Baljeet, if you're still there, let me know, and we'll get cracking on paragraph B. All right. Baljeet says, ready as I'll ever be. All right, Baljeet, let's do it. Here we go.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Baljeet. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. All right, Baljeet, let's get moving on this. So let's get right into it. I read, you read, we talk about the main idea, okay?
Yeah, sure, sir.
All right, here we go. To understand the similarities and differences of the two languages, a historical background is necessary. Old English, which was spoken from approximately 450 to 1150 CE, was very close to the German language of the period. But the Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 led to many linguistic changes. This is because the Normans were a French-speaking people, so they brought many French words into the English language, and because French is a language that comes from Latin, many Latin words also came into the English language. In English, for example, the word cow comes from the Proto-Germanic word ku, while The food obtained from cows, known in English as beef, comes from the French word boeuf. This Germanic French distinction is also the reason why pig meat is called pork, sheep meat is called mutton, and deer meat is known as venison. Each of the animal names is of Germanic origin, while the food term comes from French. One exception is the English word fish, which refers to both the animal and the food. This could be due to the French word for fish, poisson, being very similar to the English word poison, the name for a substance which can sicken or even kill. All right, whenever you're ready, Baljit.
Okay, so to understand the similarities and differences of the two languages, a historical background is necessary. Old English, which was spoken from approximately 450 to 1150 CE, was very close to the German language of the period, but the Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 led to many linguistic changes. This is because the Normans were a French-speaking people, so they brought many French words into the English language. And because French is a language that comes from Latin, many Latin words also came into the English language. In English, for example, the word cow comes from the Proto-Germanic word "ku", while the food obtained from cows, known in English as beef, comes from the French word "boeuf". This Germanic-French distinction is also the reason why pig meat is called pork, sheep meat is called mutton, and deer meat is known as venison. Each of the animal names is of Germanic origin, while the term comes from French. One exception is the English word fish, which refers to both the animal and the food. This could be due to the French word for fish, poisson, being very similar to the English word poison. This the name for a substance which can sicken or even kill.
Nice. Good. Okay, Baljit, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, I think your speed is okay. You might want to work on increasing it slightly, but you don't need to read much faster than that to do a good job in a reading passage, as long as you understand what you're reading. If you understand what you're reading, you'll be fine if you don't need to reread this paragraph. So, before we talk about what this is about, right, let's talk about the visualization here. So, let's say that you are picturing this, right? And of course, you now have, your English brother here hanging out, holding hands with the German brother, right? What else do you suddenly see now?
Like in English, the words or the names of foods come from Germanic language.
That's what you think, but that's not what you see. What do you actually see in this case? If we're personifying, so as we were talking about giving characteristics or giving, physical attributes, characteristics to the information, then I should see something else happening here.
Like I can put in German language, I can like see a person with cow stripes as well as
Okay, or maybe holding a fish, right? So here's this German brother of mine who's got a fish. They caught a fish, and I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I'm giving them a thumbs up, right? There we go, thumbs up. Awesome.
like he has shared of with pictures of cows.
Okay, sure. So yes, good. So you're adding these animals into the picture, right? The food. So you've got a picture of a cow or the picture of a fish. I chose the fish because it was the easiest to draw for me quickly, but it could be a cow as well. Sure, but I should be seeing something else as well here. Yeah, Ghazi's very good in the chat there. Ghazi says, you should see their uncle coming into this picture. Who's the uncle? And the uncle says, no, that's not a fish, that's a poisson. Okay, so who's the uncle? Uncle is English or German? Uncle is
German.
No, uncle is French. Uncle is the French, right? So you have to see that, Baljeet. You have to see the French uncle coming into the picture. What time does the French uncle come into the picture?
At the very end.
Okay, later on, right? Where is uncle? We have an uncle? Oh yeah, okay, we have an uncle. Uncle's coming. If we want to be more specific, right, then it would be at 1066 with the Norman invasion. So uncle came with the Normans in 1066 CE, right? Yes. So that's when uncle came in and said, that's not a fish, it is a poisson, right? So I'm sure if Sarah, one of our regular viewers from France, is watching, she's having a good laugh. So yes, so the French uncle just came into the picture, right? And now I'm kind of confused, like, oh, what's going on? Is that a fish? Is that a wait, that sounds like poison. I'm just going to keep calling it a fish. This is personification. And when you practice this, Baljeet, so when you read regularly and you practice molding information into visual information in the brain like that, you become extremely capable of answering questions based on what you read, okay? This is what you need to do. This makes you a powerful communicator, okay? So we've got our brothers here, English, German, and then we've got Uncle French, according to Ghazi, coming into the picture. All right, so now we know what the paragraph is about. It's about the sibling languages, where this sibling here, the English one, got a little bit confused and changed by the uncle who came in and moved in with the English brother, and the German brother kind of maybe moved away a little bit. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so think about that, Baljeet. Not what the thought is inside your head, but what the picture is inside your head. Okay?
I got it, sir.
Awesome.
No.
Okay. Awesome, Baljeet. All right. Well, thank you for helping me show and build that family tree a little bit. Hang in there, and I'll show you how this will all make you much more effective at answering questions. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, bye, Baljeet. All right, Baljeet, a great sport. Okay, so visualization, students, extremely important. Let's take another volunteer for the next paragraph here. Clara, are you ready? Okay, so I'm going to bounce around a little bit right now, and I can see Zarina, Ghazi, Amrit, lots of volunteers. Great. I'll try to get to as many of you. We've got 7 paragraphs, so at least, and then we've got questions. So I've got lots more volunteers to go through. Let's just get moving. I want us to pick up some speed now, and thank you for the thumbs up for Baljeet. So Clara, if you're still there, let me know. Give me a sign. Say yes. If you're not there anymore, then that's fine. We will move to another volunteer. 3, 2, 1. Clara, your time is up. Okay. All right, we'll move to somebody else. Ghazi, also in Canada, on the East Coast. Are you ready? Deserves a chance for volunteering here with that clever last answer in the chat, with the Uncle French coming into the picture. So Ghazi, are you ready? I think there's a reason why for Ghazi it might have been a little bit easier to picture the French uncle. Ghazi, if you're still with me there, give me a sign. Okay, here we go. All right.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Ghazi. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm pretty good. You sound a little bit quieter, a little bit distant. Maybe move the mic closer if you can, or turn up your mic volume.
How about now?
A little bit better. I mean, I can hear you. It's good enough for me. So hopefully everybody else can hear as well.
I call you from the upstairs. I keep away from the kids, you know.
Okay, yeah, less interference, right? Ghazi, I have a feeling that you thought about that French uncle because you're in Eastern Canada and you probably have met with some francophones, people from Quebec. right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very close. Yeah, Quebec and Newfoundland neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. So Quebec, Newfoundland, of course, the French-speaking part of Canada. So it's easy to
Yeah.
think about that French uncle, right? That
Yeah,
you probably
exactly.
saw at the supermarket the other day. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ghazi. Well, help me with paragraph C here. Again, the same. I read, you read. We talk about it. Okay. Here we go. So paragraph C. Even with the French influence, however, 80 of the 100 most common words in English are Germanic in origin. For example, the phrase I have is ich habe. The phrase it is long is es ich lang. And the phrase where is that is who is das. All of these words are clearly related. Either words are identical, although sometimes with different pronunciations. For example, the words baby, doctor, energy, machine, object, original, and school are virtually identical in either spelling, pronunciation, or both.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ghazi, whenever you're ready.
Even with the French influence, however, 80 of 100 most common words in English are Germanic in origin. For example, the phrase I have is a job. The phrase it's long is that's long. And the phrase where is that is who is that. All of these words are clearly related. Other words are identical, and sometimes with different pronunciations. For example, the words baby, doctor, energy, machine, object, original, and school are virtually identical in other spelling pronunciations or both.
Okay, good. All right, so nice. So here, I'm not sure what you're visualizing, Ghazi,
Yeah.
but what I'm seeing is I've got my brothers here again, okay, and we're speaking to each other. So I have this little speech bubble, okay, with my German brother. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, no matter how much French came into English, I still, understand my brother more than my uncle, right? That's kind of the picture that I'm getting here in my head, especially with these listed words, right? Either the pronunciation or the spelling. So, at the end of the day, we're brothers, right? We grew up together, so we're going
There's
to
more in Germany.
we're going to be closer to each other, right?
The similarity with Germany more than French. That is dominant. And the sound.
Exactly. And you just answered the question of what is this paragraph about. German is much more similar to English than it is to French, if we really look at it, okay?
That is in terms of sounds here, pronunciations more than.
And spelling, even appearance, right? So spelling, pronunciation, or both, right? So absolutely. Okay, good. Ghazi. So you are in French-speaking part of Canada, but if you want to learn more English, maybe learn a bit of German as well. And you were doing that here a little bit.
The French language. After I will be okay in the English.
There you go, right? It's an easy jump. No, not quite, but easier maybe.
Yeah, easier.
All right. And Ghazi, you speak Arabic, so you probably noticed that there are a lot of Arabic words in
you
English as
mentioned
well,
something in the beginning, the English and the Arabic, there is a similarity. That's true, yeah. There is some English words, the root of them is Arabic.
Yeah. For example, candy, sugar, rice, those are all.
Exactly. Alcohol and Algeria, like coffee.
Lots. Yeah, lots. I think there's over 800 words that are common between
there's many.
Arabic. So, and if you're an Arabic speaker, it's good to know that because then you realize that those words are the same or similar, right? So it's easy to learn them.
Yeah, it's slightly different in the sound, just the pronunciations, but
Exactly. All right, Ghazi, thank you for volunteering. I hope you have an awesome rest of the day over on the East Coast. We'll talk later.
you
Okay?
too.
All
Thank
right.
you again. See you later.
Bye, Ghazi. All right. Let me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read the next few paragraphs, just so that we can catch up a little bit, and then I'll leave the last couple paragraphs in the questions for the students. So what we're going to do here for class efficiency is I will read paragraph DE, and then I will get a couple students to read F and G, and then we'll look at the questions, okay? So for paragraph D, just read with me, and again, keep visualizing. So keep seeing these brothers and these people that represent the languages and the information that's connected to that, okay? So here we go. D, one of the key differences between German and English is in the structuring of sentences. While both English and German have certain rules for word order, these rules are very different. For example, in German, the conjugated verb is always second in the sentence. Often travel I. English has no such requirement. Verbs can go first, running through the woods. Second, I run through the woods. Or last, through the woods I run. However, German sentence word order is also freer in certain ways. Interestingly, this aspect of German is often compared to Shakespearean English. This is not a coincidence. In Shakespeare's time, around 1600 CE, English was still transitioning from Middle English to Modern English. Word order reflected the language's Germanic heritage. Today, this connection has faded, and Shakespeare's works, which are taught to school-age children across the English-speaking world, seem almost foreign. Okay, so what do I see here? I still see the brothers. Okay, and now one brother, the English brother, looks like Shakespeare. So I've put, Shakespeare's face. And if you know what Shakespeare looks like, you know that Shakespeare's kind of got this long hair and a mustache and this kind of funny beard. That's usually the way they show Shakespeare. So that's English now. Shakespeare, English, older brother maybe. If I think about structure, so I think about like the grammar, so verb, subject, object, and I'm sure many of you learned that in your English studies. I realize that in English that can move around. So what I see here is like the grammar is like the clothing. So, you've got a hat, that's maybe your object. You've got pants, that's maybe your verb. And you've got your subject, which is like a shirt on Shakespeare. And Shakespeare's kind of funny. Shakespeare sometimes puts a hat instead of pants on his legs. He puts his pants on his head. So he can really move around these clothes. That's what Shakespeare does. But my German brother, not so much. Okay, my German brother always has the hat and the shirt and the pants in the same order. All right. Okay, so that's happening quickly. I showed you that, but in my head, that happened as I was reading, very fast, okay? You do this with practice. You master this skill through practice, all right? Okay, let's keep going. One notable difference between the languages is that all nouns in German are capitalized, while only proper nouns are capitalized in English, names and places primarily. In this sense, German is simpler, but German also has more cases than English. For example, German words can have 3 genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. In general, English does not have these. While there are some words such as bachelor and bachelorette, which denote gender, almost every English noun belongs to a neuter, non-gender class of words. This is particularly notable since the 2 ancestral languages of modern English, German and French, both observe gender when naming nouns. This is an example of English evolving past both languages. While the influence of each language on English is marked, English has also had centuries of its own development, and one of its changes has involved losing its cases, such as gendered nouns. For English learners, this makes mastering the language easier. Okay, again, visualization. We've got German, brother. Okay, let's make French now, not my uncle, but let's make French my aunt. Okay, they observe genders, and this is me. I'm kind of leaving, going to a new place. I don't know what I am. I've got short hair and a smile. I'm gender neutral, right? So I'm picturing this again. My visualization is evolving as I do this, all right? Okay, I'm going to read F as well, just so that we can get to all of the questions today. So bear with me. And then for G, I will definitely take another volunteer and for the questions as well. Okay, so I can tell that D and E were the differences, right? Okay, here we go. Paragraph F, read with me. Another aspect of English, however, is very difficult. Unlike German, which is mostly a phonetic language, meaning that letters directly correspond to sounds, English is often hopelessly non-phonetic. Take the pair of words paid and said. By their appearance, these words should rhyme. Unfortunately, they are not even close. German, conversely, is much closer to the one-to-one correspondence between letters and sounds which many English learners are accustomed to. English learners must instead learn an extraordinary number of exceptions, which greatly complicates the language learning process. Okay, you can picture this as the English person or English brother not sounding like they're writing. Okay, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm sure you can imagine that. All right. Okay, so let's go back to our volunteers now, and I'm going to show you how you can move through the questions nice and smooth when you've done a good job of this. So let's take another volunteer. Let's take. Let's see, I think Zarina hasn't had a chance in a while, so let's take Zarina. Our members do enjoy a little bit of a privilege here. So Zarina, are you ready? Okay. Sunil, thanks for watching the classes for the last half year. I hope you've been learning lots. I'm reading that out of the chat, by the way. All right. Sharthak, I don't see your question about studying in Canada, so I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Zarina, if you're still there, let me know. I know it's getting a bit late in some countries, so maybe some of you are getting ready for supper or for bed. All right. Milan is from Nepal and is asking for a bit of help using the platform to speak with me. So if somebody can help out Milan, that would be great. Zarina, I'm not getting anything from you, so let me jump to Brajesh. Okay, Brajesh, are you ready? Let's see if we can reach out to Brajesh. All right. I'm always asking first if you're ready, just to make sure that, you know, you're there, you're paying attention. I have no idea. Hi, Brajesh.
Yeah, hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Am I pronouncing your name right, Brajesh?
Yes, sir. It's Brijesh. Yes, sir.
Brajesh,
It's
okay.
correct. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes,
And where are you right now, Brajesh?
sir, I'm from Darjeeling.
Darjeeling, right. Have we
Yes,
talked
sir.
before?
Yes, sir. We did in the speaking module.
Yeah, because it's hard to forget Darjeeling. I told you about that movie, Darjeeling Express, with Owen Wilson and Bill Murray. Great film.
Yes,
all right. Is it true?
Yeah.
Does that train still look like that? Or are there like people hanging off the train everywhere? On the
Yes, sir. It's exactly the same.
Oh, really? Okay, awesome.
Yes,
That's
sir.
great. That's fantastic. And maybe a lot of people, tourists, go and check it out now after that movie, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, let's do a bit of reading and not get sidetracked. Let's focus here. So I'm going to read this paragraph, you read it, and then we'll look at some questions, okay?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Here we go. So German and English are like distant cousins. They share an ancestor and share many similarities, but they also have many differences. French influence on English in the 11th century and onwards transformed the language, and the years since have only widened the gap between German and English. Yet, they also maintain a number of similarities, and after diverging millennia ago, there is still no major language closer to English than German. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so German and English are like distant cousins. They share an ancestor and share many similarities, but they also have many differences. French influence on English in the 11th century and onwards transformed the language, and the years since have only widened the gap between German and English. Yet they also maintain a number of similarities, and after diverging millennia ago, there is still no major language closer to English than German.
Fantastic. It's an obvious conclusion, right?
Yes, sir.
So lots going on with English and German as they grow into older and older brothers. They get a little bit further and further apart, forming their own families. But at the same time, they're kind of still brothers, right? And they still share many similarities. They're siblings. Okay,
Yes,
let's look at these questions now, and hopefully we can figure some of these out without doing a lot of searching in the passage, because we don't want to be searching for every answer. So go ahead and read question 27 for me. We have to match this to the right paragraph, A, B, C, D,
Okay,
E, F, G. Read 27.
Okay, the development of English beyond its language and additions.
It's antecedents.
Antecedents. Okay.
Okay.
Antecedents.
And that's
Topic
it.
explanation.
Yeah, that's my part. Don't read that part.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's just my writing. Maybe you weren't in the class, but that's my notes. Okay, so the development of English beyond its language antecedents. What do you think antecedents means in this context? Obviously, that's a new word for you, but what do you think that means?
Antecedents. Maybe it means where it was derived from.
Yeah, and where was it derived from? French and German, right? So we
Yes,
can,
sir.
so you can get words from content, right? So the development of English beyond French and German. Okay, were you here for most of the class? Were you here for the reading, A, B, C, D, the paragraphs?
No, I wasn't here. I was actually.
Okay,
I missed it.
Which paragraph did you join in?
I joined in when you started skipping the volunteering part and you read the passages.
Perfect. That's good.
Yeah.
Then you can answer this question. Okay, so which paragraph is this coming from? What information is coming or is being used here? We visualize this very clearly, so this should be fairly easy for us if we can remember what we saw.
The development of English. I wasn't paying much attention actually, so
All you
maybe
needed to do was just watch my picture drawing to answer this one. If you watched me draw those pictures, those stickman pictures.
the development was from when I guess it was on passage C, I guess.
Well, I didn't really start reading, so I still had a volunteer for passage C. I started reading from D, I believe, and here it's beyond. So remember, I have my brother or my sibling. I'm the English, right? And I have my sibling and I have my uncle, and I'm moving away from them. Right? So there was a paragraph that was very clear that I was changing my ways from my, and I even drew a little arrow that I'm moving away.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody remember that? Maybe somebody in the chat can help us here. In my mind, that was super clear. Okay, Baljit says it's maybe paragraph D. So obviously it's the one with differences. Now, one very important point here too that I should remember is the first few paragraphs, so A, B, and C, we're talking about the similarities. D and E, we're talking about the differences. So I definitely know that it should be either D or it should be E. And I remember moving away, and if everybody recalls, there was a paragraph where I drew that, one's my uncle, one's my aunt, it's a guy, the other's a girl, but I'm not sure if I'm a guy or a girl. I'm just kind of moving away and doing my own thing, right? Do you remember which paragraph that was?
E.
I think it was either D or E. I'm going more for E.
E.
So
E,
here, right? One notable difference in the languages is that all nouns in German are capitalized, and then it says they're gender neutral. And here it says that English, or modern English, is developing on its own, okay? And it's moving away. So I would go with paragraph E here, okay?
Okay.
All right. So it's changing.
Yes, sir.
It's developing beyond it. Okay. All right. So think about those visualizations. They will help you. Now, I'm going
Yes,
to
sir.
take another volunteer for the next couple of questions. Okay. But when you're
Okay.
doing this in the future, visualize. Okay. Visualize. That will help you. And
Yes,
then
sir.
just try to think, where did I see that? Where did I see English kind of walking away from the uncle or the aunt and the brother? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. It takes practice. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir.
All right.
Yeah, thank you,
okay.
sir.
Rajesh, have a nice day. Thanks for reading. Bye.
Okay, thank you, sir. Bye bye.
All right. Let's see if we can take somebody else to volunteer here. And Zarina says Zarina's ready. So we couldn't get Zarina before. Let's try Zarina again. Are you ready now, Zarina? Hopefully Zarina is still there to help me out with some of these questions. Okay. All right. Zarina, if you're there, let me know. Okay. Baljit says, I think it was still D. I don't know. I could check. I didn't check D. I should have checked D. Okay. Zarina is ready. Let's see.
I took a shower.
Hi, Zarina.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good evening to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right.
I was
Zarina.
messaging earlier, but I think my message is not going through.
Yep, I got through now though. So help me
Yeah.
solve some of these questions. Let's do. Have you been following from the beginning of the class?
Yes.
Okay, because it's a little bit difficult to do these if you're not doing it from the beginning. Okay, so here is number 28. An example of English literature being similar to German in the past. All right. Which one do you think that is? So this is an example, and definitely you should not have to search for this one. You should know where it's coming from. Okay. What do you think this one's talking about, this sentence here? Which visualization? So which picture that we kind of drew in our
I think
comprehension?
it's D.
Which one? What? Okay. What's the picture? Before we jump to D, let's talk about
Oh,
the picture.
picture. The drawing of the siblings.
Drawing of what does literature here mean? Literature means writing, right? There was one very famous person that we read about who's an
Shakespeare.
author. Right, Shakespeare. So here, if you're doing this IELTS exam correctly, and if you're paying attention to what you're reading, immediately Shakespeare should jump into your head, and the drawing in the picture of English Shakespeare, right? So which paragraph was Shakespeare?
I think C.
Okay. Well, here's the good news, Zarina. Even if we don't know, at least we know it's Shakespeare. And Shakespeare is a word that you can search for very easily because it's a very unique
sir.
word, and it's going to have the capital letter S, right? I think it was a little bit later on, but it was something about grammar. If you think C, then, we can kind of jump back to it. C, do we see Shakespeare in C here anywhere? With our eyes, not really. So probably a little bit lower. So we'll go through it. Do we see it in D? Oh yeah, there it is.
It's in D.
Shakespeare's time. So D was good. So your first instinct was right that it was D. And this is where I drew Shakespeare. So this should be very quick. This kind of a question, you should only be spending 15 seconds to get the right answer.
Okay.
Yeah, you should not be spending minutes on a question like this in the exam.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so D it is. All right, keep helping me, Zarina. Number 29. Read this question for me, please. 29.
Okay. 29.
You will now see it clearly. You see it, Zarina? 29. I'm highlighting it for you.
Sir, I cannot see the.
Okay, I'll
I
read
think
it.
it's kind of delayed.
I'll read it. Okay. So a
Oh
key
yeah, I'm delayed.
yeah. So a key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. What picture?
Those like the pork,
Okay, what was the picture? What was I holding in my hand?
and the fish.
The fish. Right. I was holding the fish.
Poisson.
Poisson in French, but fish in English, right? Okay, and which paragraph was that?
It's like I cannot remember the paragraph. It's like F or
Oh, it was much earlier than that. Do you remember what happened? My French uncle came into the picture. My French
Yes,
uncle came in and said, "Oh, I am your French uncle and I'm changing your life forever." When did uncle come into the picture? I saw uncle, I think, much earlier than F or E.
it's like E.
Yeah, I saw
E.
uncle earlier. Okay, so this is where, Zarina, this is where practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Because with practice, you're going to organize these pictures, okay? So, of course,
Sure.
once you picture what's happening, you have to organize the pictures, right? I didn't
yes.
I didn't see my uncle in A. In A, it was just me and my sibling, German. And then I saw my uncle very shortly after. So it was either B or C, right?
Okay.
So, but I remember it was fish, right? So if I have to search, I can, search there. I remember seeing it as early as B, right? So here it says, but the Norman conquest of Britain led to many changes. And if I keep going, then I suddenly see cow, beef.
Yeah,
and
yes.
so the correct paragraph is B, right?
B.
Yeah. Now, even if, so some people are like, okay, but I don't remember the exact paragraph, right? If you don't remember the exact paragraph, Serena, it's okay, but you should remember roughly where the information is. Like if you're thinking it's in paragraph E for this one, you're in trouble, okay? You don't have to remember that it's B, but you should remember that it's B or C, that the French uncle came early into the picture, okay? So, and then if you have to check, you now have to check much less than the whole paragraph. Because in the real IELTS exam, if you're thinking paragraph E and then you start checking paragraph E, you're going to be really lost and you're going to spend a lot of time trying to find it, right? So here,
Yes.
the paragraph is B, but it all comes with practice. Okay, let's go to 30. Here we go. You're helping me with all of these ones now. You're stuck. All right. So read this one for me, please.
Difficulties in English pronunciation.
Okay.
Oh, that's the period.
I didn't actually draw that one. I just said what I saw because, of course, in the real IELTS, you're not drawing. Okay, so students in the real IELTS, please don't use your pencil. I mean, if you're quick, if you can draw quick stick people, it might actually help you to draw quick stick people in this case. I might do it, but I'm definitely drawing it in my head, and I did that here with this one. Do you remember which paragraph this was? Difficulties in English pronunciation?
It must be in the latter part.
It was in the latter part, and there was a very clear example given as well with words that don't rhyme.
Difficulties.
The words that don't rhyme, they were, and if somebody's an auditory learner, this would have been easy for them. Akira and Hikmatillo say F. Yeah, it was either E or F. I kind of remember F because they gave this example here, Zarina, the paid and said.
Okay, sir.
Right,
But I think I missed that part.
All right, fair enough. But now we're here, and it's paid and said,
Okay,
so
sir.
it's the phonetic. It's a phonetic language, right? Talking about phonetics. So definitely paragraph F. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
I really
so
missed it.
Zarina, practice your visualization and practice organizing your visualization. When you're at home, Zarina, if you're doing a passage like this at home, I would actually recommend that you draw little pictures as you go through
Okay,
each
sir.
paragraph. So have like a blank piece of paper and a pencil, and you read a paragraph, and then you create the picture in your head, and just a simple picture, just like what I did, simple stickman, and draw them in order, right? So you would have
Okay,
all
sir.
of these little drawings, and then go through the questions and look at your pictures. See what's going on. Okay,
Okay, sir.
makes sense.
Yes, sir. Makes
Okay,
sense.
the reason I'm saying this, Zarina, okay, it's obviously I'm not just telling you, I'm telling this to everybody who's watching. But the reason I'm emphasizing this so much is because a lot of people think that the problem is with their speed. They think that they don't read fast enough. But even the fastest reading in the world is not enough if you don't understand what you're reading. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not about speed, it's about comprehension at a certain point. Okay, Zarina, hang in there, and we'll try to get to a couple more questions. Okay, so we'll find somebody else for those, and have an awesome
sir.
rest of your day. Bye, Zarina.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, Zarina was helping us out there. So watch those visualizations, right? Okay, let's take somebody else. Let's see if Mizad is with us still here. Mizad wants to volunteer. Are you ready, Mizad? If you're there, help me answer questions. Got a little bit of a surprise for you here going into the last few minutes. All right, Mizad is ready, steady. Let's go. Thanks for the thumbs up and support, students.
Hi sir, how are you? Good.
Hi, Mizad. There
Hi.
you are. How are you? I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm too great, sir. Fine, thank you.
Awesome. Mizad, let's do this. Let's answer some questions nice and fast here.
Yeah, sure.
All right. We're going to skip the fill in the blank ones in the summary. I'm going to leave this one for everybody for homework. Okay. I think this one's fairly easy. You should be able to figure these ones out. It's too easy for you, Mizad. It's too easy. So I'm going to skip these ones. I'm going to jump to the true, false, not given. How do you feel about that?
Fine, okay.
Right. It was very ambitious sounding. You're like, all right. I thought you were going to say something like, you're mean, Adrian. You're making me do the hard questions. Or I thought you were going to go, that's awesome. I love true, false, not given. Okay, Mizad, let's do these. Do you know the strategy for true, false, not given, Mizad? There's a very good strategy for these.
Yeah, the sentence if matches with the information, it is true basically. In case if the sentence doesn't match, it's the opposite, then it is false. And if no information is given for a particular thing, then if it is, then the information is not given.
That's true, but that's not a strategy. How do you actually figure out the answer? So you can't be searching for it because they're paraphrased. So you're not going to get an exact match. Like you will not read the sentence rules concerning capitalization differentiate German from English. You won't read that sentence because they're paraphrasing information in many different ways. So you won't be able to match this to the text. So there's a different strategy to actually figure out whether it's true, false, or not given. Do you know the strategy for that? How do you actually deduce or logically figure this out?
Well, so you can tell it to me.
All right, good. That's fine. Saying no is absolutely okay. We do have a video, a reading video, an HD video, not a live class video on the channel. I think we actually have two of them now. One is for yes, no, not given. The other is for true, false, not given. And that video explains what I'm about to tell you in a lot of detail, okay? There's a very cool computer logic that you can do for this, Mizad.
Okay, sir.
If you want to know whether or not it's given or not given, you have to figure out if it's important. Okay, so if the information that you read here is important, it's going to be given, most likely. If it's not important for this passage, then it probably won't be given. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So now if I can figure out that it's given, right? If I figure it's not given, then I'm just going to put not given and go to the next one, because I'm not going to search for not given information. That's just crazy, right? Trying to search for not given information. Don't do that. But if I figure out that it's given, right? If I'm like, okay, that's important, so it's given, then all I have to do is figure out if it's true or if it's false, right? Make sense? Okay. So let's do it that way. So read 37 for me.
Rules concerning capitalization differentiate German from English.
Okay. Do you think for this passage it's important to know whether we have differences between German and English with capitalization?
Yes, absolutely, because they had mentioned in the passage regarding the words.
Good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you recall that from the passage that, they talk about the grammar, the structure, the spelling. So yeah, when I read this, I can figure out that, okay, this is an important piece of information. This is probably mentioned. So now I know that it's given, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that I know that it's given, all I have to figure out is whether it's true or false, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So now we can focus on that. So is it true that capitalization is different in German from English?
Yes, true.
Can you tell me why? I agree with
because
you.
they had mentioned in that they had mentioned in that paragraph that when you speak in English, it is in a particular sentence, and when you speak in German, it is I. So they had mentioned in the passage.
Wrong. That's not the difference, but you did figure out that it's true. So your brain is working overtime. Your brain knows that something's true here. It hasn't figured out clearly what that difference is in capitalization. What does the word capitalization mean?
Capitalization means to capitalize on something.
No, it's a different definition. Think about writing. In writing, what do you think capitalization means? Break the word.
The words are in capital format. The alphabet is in capital format.
Exactly, right? So the first letter is a capital letter. So you can see that here, right? The word rules is in a capital letter here, right? German is capital. English is capital. So that's what we call capitalization, okay? And in the text, if we were to go back, we would discover that English capitalizes proper nouns, and the start of sentences, but German capitalizes every noun. So if we were reading this in German, then in German this C would be a capital letter as well. Okay? But in English, this C is just a regular C, not a capital C. So that's what the text explained to us, but you got enough of the idea that you were able to figure out that the answer here is true, right? That it's given and that there is differences in capitalization. Good. Let's go to the next one. You'll see, you get the hang of it once you do a few of them. So read number 38 for me.
English has, for the most part, lost the case system of its past.
Okay.
English, for the most part, case system.
Okay. So
it is
here,
not lost actually.
Wait. Let's slow down. What does it mean by the case system?
Case system.
Because in the true false not given, if you do not understand the statement, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to actually answer it correctly. Then it's just a guessing game. Then we have a 33% chance of getting it right, because it's 1 in 3, right? True, false, not given. So it's we're guessing, it's 33%. So in order to answer this, we have to understand it, right? So English, for the most part, lost the case system of its past. What is the case system? I need to understand case system to answer this question.
From the very beginning, they were mentioning about the different languages. That when French was incorporated those words, and when German was incorporated those words, but still English is still in the case system. It has not lost its past basically, because many words come from English.
No. Quite the opposite. English has changed a lot. German and French are more close to their original languages than English is. So one other technique or strategy that you can use here is you can kind of think about the information as differences right? And similarities to French, to French and to German, right? So it talked about the similarities and differences in grammar, in pronunciation, in vocabulary, and capitalization. In the grammar or in the culture of the language, there was a very clear difference. I even drew the picture, and that was the case system. The case system refers to what difference? It's one of the differences. Ghazi's saying, is it the identity? And Ghazi's definitely on the right track Baljit answered the question in the chat there. So if you're looking at the chat, then Baljit has the right answer for case system. It is the gender, right? So see, this is why it's really difficult to search for these answers, because here the case system is talking about the genders. So in one case, it's masculine, it's male. In the other case, it's feminine, it's female. And then in English, do we use male and female markers for words? Like in French, they say like le, la for different types of nouns. Do we do that in English? No, we don't, right? So again, challenging, right? Because for true, false, not given, step one is you have to understand the statement. So you have to figure out the paraphrasing. And once we figure that out, then we can figure out if it's important. So is this important?
Yes, it is important.
It's definitely important. Is it true that English lost the case system, that it doesn't use male, female words?
No.
It's true, right? We don't have to pay attention to if it's a la car or a lock car, like in German or in French, right? And believe me, that makes English much easier. If everybody had to learn that as well, you'd be even more angry. You'd have to think about, is it a girl or is it a boy for every noun? So it'd be a lot trickier. So here the answer again is true. There's no pattern, okay? So you'll never, like some people think that, oh, if the first one's true, this one might be false or not given. No, it can be true, 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 true. And sometimes they do that in IELTS, okay? So you have to be really careful.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Yeah, right.
Okay, it's all based on knowledge. So here, number 39, read that one for me.
Yeah, English is a phonetic language.
Okay, what does it mean, phonetic?
English is a phonetic. Phonetic is something very difficult.
No. So this is something that you maybe learned like at the start of your English studies, like when you were learning English at the beginning. You probably heard this word from your teachers, phonetic. There's two types of languages in the world. One is a phonetic language. Phonetic language means that you read it the same way as, or you say it the same way that you read it. Okay, so whatever you see is the actual sound of the language. Non-phonetic languages, so languages that are not phonetic, means that you have changes in the pronunciation from the written version. Okay, so the letters don't always sound the same sorry, when you say them. Which one is English? Is English phonetic or non-phonetic?
Yes, that is a phonetic language because it sounds the same only when we speak the words.
But it's not when we write it, right? So we write it differently than the way that it sounds sometimes, right? That's why spelling is so challenging in English, correct? Okay, so I know it's tricky because I'm teaching you new vocabulary here, right? So, is it important to know this idea that English is phonetic or non-phonetic?
Yes, it is important.
Very important, right? It's a foundation for a language, so it's very important. Is it true that English sounds the same way that you write it?
No.
Absolutely not. If you think about it, one good example is the word bear. Right? There's two different ways to write it, spelled differently, but sounds the same. So we can clearly say that it doesn't sound the way that you write it because we have homonyms like this, right? So the answer here then is false, right? So English is not a phonetic language.
False.
Yeah. Okay, last one. I know I told you you should have been like, Adrian, you're so mean. You're giving me all the hardest questions. Number 40. Read this one. Let's do it.
Yes, English and German are the most closely related major languages in the world.
Okay. English and German are the most closely related major languages in the world. Is this information given? Is it important?
Well, it was not mentioned as such in the passage that it is closely related.
It's definitely mentioned that they're closely related, but is it mentioned that it's the most closely related in the world?
No, false. It's false.
Whoa. So let's slow down. Do you remember reading about other languages being siblings? Like, did we read about, for example, French and Spanish being related? No,
Yeah.
Right? Did we read about Hindi and Punjabi being related to each other?
No.
No. Did we read about Mandarin and Cantonese being related to each other?
No.
No, right? Now, here's another interesting question, because questions help you to answer questions. Are English and German the most closely related major languages in the world?
True. Yeah. It was mentioned.
Do you think, wait a second, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Do you think Hindi and Punjabi are closer than German and English?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
Do you think Spanish and French are closer than English to each other?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah. Does the passage talk about this? Does it compare English-German siblings to other siblings?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. So the information is not specific to the passage. It's too general. So the answer here is...
True.
Not given, right? Doesn't talk about it.
Not given.
It does. We don't know. It's probably false. It's probably false because I don't think English and German are the closest world languages. But it doesn't talk about that, so we can't give our own information. Like, I can't say it's false because the author doesn't tell me about that. So it's not given. You have to practice these. You have to follow the logical pattern, okay? This is the easiest way to solve these questions. If you are searching for these answers, you will run out of time. Not maybe, for sure you will run out of time if you're searching for these. You have to be able to answer most of the true, false, not given questions without looking at the text.
Right, sir.
Okay, so that's the strategy.
Right.
Is it important? First, understand the statement. Then, is it important? If yes, is it true or false? Okay?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I got it.
Thank you, Mizad. I know I put a lot of pressure on you there with those difficult questions, but believe me, I'm sure a lot of other viewers will have a tough time. Yeah, Mizad, it was great.
Very nice talking to you.
To you as well. Have
Me too. Have a great day.
You too, and thank you for helping me with these. Okay, bye, Mizad. All right, that was Mizad. Give him a big hand. That was tough. That was tough. I can't even imagine trying to do that in another language. So good for him for doing that. That was awesome. Okay, everybody. So that's true, false, not given. That's how you solve that one. And we are way over time, but I wanted to really show you how to do those true, false, not given. For the paragraph completion, send me your answers to adrian@aehelp.com and I'll send you back the answer key. Okay. Remember, you can get all of our exams on our websites, and we use these books from the websites for these live classes, so you can review them there, find the information there. If you don't see it there, let me know. And then yeah, you'll be on your way to improving your IELTS score quickly. It's not about reading fast. It's about understanding what you're reading. Check us out at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. Sign up for our premium package by clicking on the red buttons. Okay, these nice big red buttons that you see there. Click on that. You'll see me in the video at the start introducing these materials, and you're off to the races. Thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with me for these challenging lessons, and I hope you come back tomorrow for our speaking classes. We will have speaking part 2 and speaking part 3. Speaking part 2 will be members chat. Speaking part 3 will be everybody chat. They will be fantastic. We will talk with students. We will estimate speaking band scores. So join me for some IELTS fun, English fun. Learning to communicate is one of the greatest keys to success in life, and learning to communicate in English is certainly an asset. So good return on investment of your time. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for now. Thank you, Carolina, for moderating. Thank you, students, for watching. Thank you, members, for your support. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.